But look, the first place I want to start is I want to start off with this story around Sir Jim Radcliffe, which we've sort of been digging around for the last few days. And effectively, there was this story out there, I think it came from The Guardian, that Sir Jim Radcliffe sort of criticised the Casemiro deal when he was visiting Carrington. And in a sense, he did. But in a reality, the unhappiness goes a lot bigger. So Jim Radcliffe is basically looking at Manchester United's wage bill, playing squad, and saying, what's going on at this football club? We've spent £500 million in the last 3 summer transfer windows, and our wage bill is the biggest in the Premier League. And look, you can say Sir Jim Radcliffe's a genius, this looks really positive, but he's walked into the club and gone, I'm at Carrington, I'm looking at the team training, and you're telling me you've spent £500 million in the last 3 years. Over £1 billion in the last decade, and you're telling me that that's the best paid squad in the league. I mean, he's basically just gone in and gone, that's horrific. But what he's done it in a different way to the way Qatar did it. Because Qatar's message was, we're going to make Man United great again, we're going to clear the debt, we're going to build a stadium, we're going to make it great again. Whereas Sir Jim Radcliffe's gone in and gone to the Glazers, well, you've spent money, and look what you've got for your money. I'm not putting the blame on you. I'm putting the blame on the people who've spent your money. So that's a different approach. I think the Qatari bid was very much the Glazers are evil. The Glazers are not evil, but the Glazers have made a mess of Man United. Whereas Sir Jim Radcliffe's gone in and gone, it's not your fault. You've put money there, and look at what they've done with the money. So the Glazers are far more open to working with Sir Jim, because he's saying, if I'd have been here, we'd be in a much better position because you have spent money. You've got the biggest wage bill in Manchester in the Premier League, and look at what you've got, which is interesting, I suppose, in a way. So let's delve into that because the criticism is across the board. It's there for Erik ten Hag as well. I don't think it means Erik ten Hag's job's in danger because, as we'll get into there, when you look at what Sir Jim's issue is, Erik ten Hag doesn't negotiate the price and he doesn't negotiate the wages. It's the spend. It's the spend on what you've got for that spend that will piss Sir Jim off. Because as we said before, if United hadn't overpaid for Anthony, they could have got Anthony and Gakpo. But look, a few people are saying true. I think this is where we're going to be as Manchester United fans. I always use the traffic light system, red, green. A lot of people live in green and red. Negative, positive about different topics. They can never live in between. And the thing about living in between is there will be aspects of what Sir Jim Radcliffe wants to do at United that are green good. Obviously, I'm very concerned about some of the red bad, but there is bits in between, and that's life. The thing that interests me is, and I have seen this a lot, and I think what is dangerous, and I think we did a great job on Thursday night when we said Man United in 2026, and we did that show sort of predicting where United would be in 2026. I haven't got a problem with that. I haven't got a problem with anybody having an opinion, actually. But what I do have a problem is, and I've seen articles and I've seen videos where people are saying, why Sir Jim Radcliffe will be good for Manchester United. And then they're listing off 5 reasons or 10 reasons. And I'm like, this is not buying a midfielder from Fiorentina that you've scouted. This is, you can watch Amrabat play for Fiorentina. You can see what type of player he is. And you can make a prediction on what will happen if he comes into the club. But you cannot do videos on 10 reasons why Sir Jim Radcliffe will be good at Man United and try and sell it to United fans. And the reason you can't do that is you're pissing in the wind. You don't know which way the wind's blowing. It's like saying, eat this pie. 10 reasons why this pie is going to be really good for you. And you take the pie and you go, I can't see what's inside the pie. Well, it's a pie. Well, I can see the pastry, but when I bite into it, what's in it? It's a surprise. It's a surprise. It's, who knows what's going to be in there. It could be beef and onion, chicken and mushroom, gravel. It could be gravel. Is it gravel? I'll eat it. Is it gravel? It could be cat shit. You don't know what's in the pie. Jump in that lake. You look a bit hot. Look, jump in that lake. What's in it? Who knows? You could be joined by, supermodels, men and women, whatever you want. Or you could jump in and get ate by a crocodile. You don't know what's in it. You don't pie face. But you know what I mean? There's people doing videos on why Sir Jim Radcliffe's going to be good for Man United or why Sir Jim Radcliffe's going to be bad for Manchester United. And in fairness, nobody knows either way. So I'm not saying good or bad, But you've got people who are... I just think it's irresponsible to sit there and do a video or sit there and write an article about why Sir Jim Ratcliffe will be good for the club. You don't know what the deal is. From Saturday to last night, he's got total control of sporting committee to Joel Glazer's on the sporting committee. You cannot sit there and say, hand on heart, that this is going to be good for United when you don't know what the deal's going to be. Somebody sent me something yesterday and I was laughing as I was watching it. I was going, what are they talking about? They're completely plucking this opinion out of their arse, which I'm actually quite good at. But I think on something on this, it's way too serious. But what we can do is we can look at things like this morning and say, well, look, this is what Qatar were going to do. This is what you would do. And this is clearly what Sir Jim Radcliffe's going to do. And what he's done, and I'll be honest, when I was reading the WhatsApp about this morning, it just so happened that I had Twitter open and there was a picture of I think it was about who was training. Casemiro wasn't training, so they had pictures of the team training yesterday, and there was one picture that basically had most of the squad. They were in a line doing shuttle runs and most of the squad was there, and I thought, okay, well, Martinez isn't there, Luke Shaw's not there, Aaron Wan-Bissaka's not there, and Casemiro's not there, so that's 4 players that are first team players really. But I looked at the squad training and I was like, that's not the best paid squad in the Premier League. It just isn't. That's not £500 million spent in the last 3 years. That's not £1 billion and over £1 billion in the last 10 years. You know, Sir Jim Radcliffe has got every right to walk into that football club and say, what a joke. What an absolute joke. How have you got the biggest wage bill in the world, in the Premier League, one of the biggest in the world, and that's your training squad? How have you spent £500 million in 3 years and that's your squad? And it's right. It's right. It's absolutely correct. And I don't care whether it's Sir Jim Radcliffe, you know, Jim Carrey, or, you know, I was going to say someone who's dead and very controversial. I'm not going to say him. But I think that there will be things that Sir Jim Radcliffe does and puts out there that is absolutely correct. And realistically, he is unhappy with Ten Hag's spending. He's unhappy with the wage bill, and he's unhappy with the way the club has been run in that area. And he's absolutely correct, because it's only what you've been saying for a while. I mean, when you look at it, Julian says, I think this club will continue to be doomed in our lifetime. Sad thing is, most local fans can't see that because they're getting a Mancona. This wouldn't happen under the watch of AC Milan fans, says Julian. Well, you might well be correct about that. I mean, I am very, very concerned about the future of Manchester United, as I've said before. But look at this. Over the last 3 years, Manchester United have spent over £500 million. That's £500 million. So Ollie's last summer and the 2 summers of Ten Hag, we've spent £500 million. Do you feel from that £500 million we've got enough? You know, Jadon Sancho would have been part of that. Obviously, Martinez, Anthony, Casemiro. I mean, you spend £500 million and you look at it and you go, oh, I could have spent that better. You know, it's a lot of money, and we are... And the scary thing is, you look at the starting 11 and you go, I don't feel like we've got a starting 11 yet, and yet we've spent a lot of money. The wage bill, some say it's Chelsea, some say Man City are quite close, but Manchester United, according to a lot of recent articles, have the biggest wage bill in the Premier League. Now, considering that wage bill has been reduced by around 40 million quid with the departure of Cristiano Ronaldo and David De Gea in the last 12 months, that is scary that we still have the biggest wage bill. And I look at United's team, and I think United's wage bill is around, and I might be miles off here, but I think it's around, let's say, £200 million a year. £200 million a year in wages. I think Liverpool play about 150, and they've got a much better squad than us. So, you know, these are things that we talk about quite consistently, but they're an absolute joke. They are an absolute joke. And the way that football club has been run in recent years, as we know, is appalling.